Jay, we brought you here to the Sports Centre because we want you to referee a football match. Now, what Jay doesn't know is that these two teams are arch rivals, so it's going to get quite heated on the pitch. But the other thing he doesn't know is that they're all women. And they're very difficult. Half time, and how's he feeling?
Stressed, yeah.
Got to be assertive, think really strong. Don't be intimidated by these women. Just keep saying to yourself, I have the power, I am in control.
Well, it's fascinating, Kate, because I was 44 last year, so I am right at the bottom.
Did you get depressed?
Yeah, I had a really tough year. Nothing terrible happened. As the research says, it's not about necessarily death or divorce or awful life circumstance. I just had a difficult time. All my contemporaries who are about the same age. Well, it's about, psychologists have sort of known this for years, really. It's about what they call lifespan development, that as your diagram said, in your 20s, it's like the world is an oyster. Everything is ahead of you, it's open, and you'll think anything is possible. And then gradually, that oyster begins closing, and suddenly you hit your mid-40s and you think, oh my goodness,
Is this it?
Is this it? That is the question. That's the key. Almost like existential angst. Who am I? What am I going to do? I'm never going to now be Nicole Kidman. I'm never going to be more attractive than I am now. In fact, it's all downhill. I'm losing my looks. My fertility is at the end. I can't have children or more children. What is the future? And then
That's if you're a woman, I suppose. But blokes can still go meet a 20-year-old woman and they'll be all right.
And traditionally often have done, haven't they? The male midlife crisis we've known a lot about, like they're getting the sports car, maybe going off with the younger woman. But I think women are now raising their voice about it's very tough for us too.
I suppose the good news is that when you get to 70, as long as your health is okay, you'll then be happy again. What's that about?
Well, it's almost like this process then carries on. You kind of have a lot of losses. It's facing up to your losses and saying, I won't be this, I'm not this, I'm never going to be this. And then accepting the things you are.
Right.
And the things you have done and the things you can actually still do. So it's about kind of the triumph of acceptance over regret and loss. And I think by 70, you know, you don't worry that you're going to look good in a mini skirt and the guys are going to wolf us. It's kind of like, I look forward to being that little grey-haired old lady that is peaceful and happy and sitting doing my hobbies. And you have calm, peace and acceptance, hopefully, if you've still got your health.
I simply can't wait. Jacqui, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thanks, Kate.
They may quickly recover physically, but mentally, how will they cope after such an ordeal? Psychologist Jacqui Marson has, like the rest of us, been following these events. Hi, Jacqui.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio. Lots of euphoria, as Robert said, but lots of attention. What kind of issues are the miners going to face now?
Well, I was thinking, for me, it's a bit the analogy of childbirth. It's like you have all this long wait of hope and fear and dread almost, and then the happy event, they're out. So much euphoria and excitement. Everyone gives you all this attention. You're the centre of everything. And then when that goes, that's when it's really difficult to cope with, because like, this is my life now. Oh no, this is reality. This is so tough. I'm not the centre of attention anymore. And yet I've been through that ordeal. Obviously, you know, 100 times harder for them. But I think, as you said earlier, it's the media scrum that may be a greater ordeal than the ordeal of being trapped for all those days. I might call it the Susan Boyle syndrome, that, you know, you come from a very small town, you've led a very quiet life, and suddenly the world's media want you on a kind of minute-by-minute basis. That's a very, very intrusive, hard thing to cope with.
And they all seem to react in different ways when they came out. Particularly, let's have a look at the second miner to come out, Mario Sepulveda, I should say, Super Mario, as they're calling him. He really went to town when he came out. He brought rocks there for the president and the people who rescued him, and then he led a chant of Chile with all the rescuers there. Obviously, completely ecstatic to come out. What do you read into his reaction?
Well, it's great, isn't it? We all have our kind of default coping mechanism of how we cope in a crisis, in a traumatic situation. And he is the kind of the cheerleader one, the one who's coming out and getting everyone on side, get that great energy. Someone with that sort of personality type can sometimes crash the furthest, because he's been up the highest. He's got quite a long way to go when he's suddenly alone and it's just the family. How is that going to be for him?
So a big high followed by a low?
Possibly, potentially. Okay. It could happen.
In contrast, the oldest miner who came out, Mario Gomez, there he is. He dropped to his knees and prayed when he came out. Completely different reaction. What's your take on that?
And it's very moving, isn't it, for all of us to watch. And again, that's where was your default coping mechanism? His is to look to God and to think, God has saved me, I will give thanks as soon as I get out. Whereas Super Mario is more like, I give thanks to the people, I give thanks to the support. again, we could predict that that's a sort of internal mechanism that may give you more strength in further problems that arise.
Very briefly, Jacqui, as well, a lot of things have gone on while the miners have been there. One's become a father, one has proposed, one has found that his wife and mistress turn up at the mine. Lots of things for them to think about.
We love it, though. It's like the world's soap. All life is there, and it just shows how much has changed and how much they have to come to terms with and cope with.
Jacqui,
but we wish them well.
Thank you very much indeed.